Good afternoon and welcome to Tortilla Talk, brought to you by Tech and Tortillas. I'm your host, Dylan, and with me today is the usual gang. Troy, how are you doing?
Oh, man, I'm doing awesome. How are you?
Oh, living the dream. Dallas, you excited to talk more football today?
Yeah, I'm ready for football to actually be here, but until then, we'll keep talking.
Yeah, Nick, I know you got a very busy schedule right now. I'm glad you could somehow squeeze this in.
No problem. No problem. For you guys, don't worry about it. The baby can wait.
Well, the baby will be waiting for some good content here, Nick, because don't you worry, we're going to have a full plate here. We're going to start in college football as, guys, the season's, a few days away at this point. We have a college football this weekend. That's exciting. With it being the first week of the season, let's jump in. I'll go straight to you, Dallas. What's your bold prediction for this year for college football?
My bold prediction is that the Big 12 will get the same number of schools in the college playoff as the Big 10. Yeah, you heard me. Look, this schedule sets up to where if some teams can take care of some stuff in the non-conference, we can potentially have a one-loss team left out of the conference championship, in which case they would probably get in as an at-large bid, and both teams in the conference championship make it. Not high on the Big Ten. I think that the SEC and a couple of teams from the ACC will take some of their spots, and the Big 10 and Big 12 both send 3 teams to the college football playoff.
3 teams, Dallas. Who are those 3 teams?
Yeah. Well, Texas Tech, of course.
Okay.
Texas Tech, Utah, since I know that Nick already has predicted that Tech and Utah will play in the championship game. And then final school, I think it's going to be the winner of the Kansas State-Kansas game. That'll be the tiebreaker to go to the college football playoff. Yeah, all teams in the season with at least 11 wins and will have enough on their resume to make it to the big stage.
Man, I mean, that would really look good for us, especially with everyone giving us the little brother treatment as a conference right now. Troy, that was pretty bold. How are you going to get bolder than that?
I'll try. We'll see if I do. All right, my bold prediction will be that Michigan does not make it to the college football playoffs. Doesn't make it to the Big Ten championship game. They'll finish in the top half of their conference, but yeah, no running it back there.
I mean, that's as cold of a take as it can get. I mean, there's no boldness on that at all. I mean, it's actually projected to not happen. Man, we really just brought it down a whole few levels. I mean, Troy, it's a tough conference. They got Ohio State, Penn State, and they're, new coach, everything. There's a lot going against them, but yeah, I guess that's bold in certain ways.
Yeah.
Whatever floats your boat. Well, Nick, I think he set you up there to take it up another level. Please tell me you got something bolder than that.
So I thought we said bold predictions, not bold. So I've got some thoughts. Let me lay them out for you. But Troy must have thought you said cold predictions.
Yeah, I guess.
Burn. So
Burn.
my bad. I
did communication to start the pod.
Yeah. So Troy has a cold prediction. Dallas has a bold prediction. I'm going to give you a bold prediction. I was reading an article and that Brent McMurphy clown was saying we were going to the Birmingham Bowl. Here's what I'm going to tell you. That ain't it. Because we're obviously going to the college football playoff. And I don't think the Birmingham Bowl is in the college football playoff. That being said, just silly stuff coming from that guy. Guy's a clown. Keep doubting us, right? But so I guess my bold prediction, not amongst us, our group, but my bold prediction is Texas Tech's going to the college football playoff this year.
I think we all had that. Troy, you could have just went with that. Right. What's up, Dallas?
What's that, Dallas?
I said, you know why he did that, right? Because he got burned last year. He said we were going to beat Bama in the Cotton Bowl.
and then he's going to be wrong again.
He's got a history of being wrong.
Yeah. So you're telling me I'm right.
Yeah.
Well, Nick's bold prediction and bold prediction both were hotter takes than Troy's freezing cold prediction. So, good for you. It worked out.
I'm shocked you're not wearing a coat.
Nick didn't even know the objective, and he hit the nail on the head. And he was a lot closer than Troy. But all right. Well, Nick, I'll keep it with you. What are you most excited about for this year?
Oh man, I'm excited about. We have an older team this year, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited to have some experience on the team. We've got a lot of juniors and seniors on offense. We've got a little bit younger on defense, but even so, just a lot of juniors, a lot of red shirts. So I'm excited to see what they can do. I'm excited to get Joey's guys in here. Not to say that didn't love the teams from the past couple of years, but Joey's big thing is what, right? It's recruiting. So to finally start seeing maybe some of the fruits of his labor paying off, I'm excited to see how it meshes together. So, and then, we've been talking about it a little bit, but I think most excited on offense, I'm the wide receivers. I mean, between Coy Aiken, you got Douglas, Kelly, Tharp, all those guys. I know Tharp's a tight end, but just all those guys being able to catch the ball. Then, Micah Hudson's like the third option right now at receiver until he has his breakout at the beginning of the season. Then he becomes a starter. But we just got so much depth at the receiver position. Then on defense, our linebackers, pretty stoked about that group of guys. All of them showed out last year, and they're all young dudes too. So I mean, they have the potential to be there for a little while. So
yeah, no, there's a lot to be excited for, especially if you have them going to the college football playoff, like you just said. So I'm sure there's a lot of reason. Now, the answer I was looking for was your baby, but because I just said, what are you excited for? But I mean, Tech football is a great answer too.
If her being born brings us a national championship, she'll be the greatest Red Raider, and she's not even one. So,
are you afraid of too much success too early?
It might get to her head. I've thought about that.
Yeah.
But hey, that's her cross to bear.
That's true. Dallas, I'll throw it to you. What are you most excited for this year?
Well, I'll give you a narrow view and a bigger picture view for Tech. I'm excited for a healthy Baron Morton. We've seen basically one half of it, and it was electric in Stillwater a couple years ago. I'm excited to see what he can do with these offensive weapons. Really let him sling the ball around. I think that it's going to open up some things for Taj Brooks in the run game when they've really got to guard against the pass and those weapons. Bigger picture, I'm excited for the old Dust Bowl. I think that really has the potential to grow into a great rivalry, especially this year. Some dynamics with, going to play against Alvin Bowman, a little Taj Brooks versus Ollie Gordon matchup. I think it has the potential that if both teams are good and remain good, that it could be one of the Big 12's marquee rivalries.
Now, Dallas, can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Thank you. With all these weapons that you brought up on offense, are you are you scared they're not going to let us in the stadium?
Well, luckily we don't have to get in the stadium with them.
No, the team.
I think he's making a weapons joke.
Yeah, the old weapons joke. I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be tough if they got a new metal detector in the new south end zone when they come through. We'll see. That could be a big obstacle for the ACU game.
Just curious. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that's a fair thing to think about. I don't think the refs would like to see that on the field. I would say keep it off the field, but yeah, maybe just don't bring him to the field at all. How about that? Troy, I'll go and throw it to you. What are you most excited for?
Yeah, I'm excited for the offense to make a return. Last year, we finished in the bottom half of offense. Morton was 12th. Obviously, he was injured most of the year, but finished 12th in passing stats. Not a receiver in the top 25 in any of the receiving categories. And obviously, Taj Brooks was number 2 in rushing. And so that's the biggest block we have returning, right, is Taj. But excited for Morton to take that next step. And he has all these, like Nick mentioned, weapons around him now. And you hope that you can maybe get 2 or 3 receivers in the top 25.
You hope you can use them.
Yeah, you just hope he can use them. So I'm excited to kind of have that feel that we did when Pat Mahomes was there, and it didn't feel like the offense was ever going to stall out or anything. So I'm hoping to kind of flip that switch. And over the last few years, it's definitely felt stagnant at times, and we've really stayed in games because of our defense at points in time. And so I think that remains pretty consistent. I don't think we have to worry anything about that, but it feels like the offense is going to come together this year. And it'll be way more consistent. So excited for that.
As long as the defense from the Pat Mahomes era doesn't show up.
Yeah, for the love of God.
Troy, that was a lot of stats there you rattled off. How many more you got on that screen you were looking at?
So here's what I got.
Dude, Troy's sitting here like he's at work. He's got his mouse. He's like, all right.
I'm crunching numbers. Did you know we didn't have a receiver in the top yards, 25?
Not even in the top 25.
Oh, man.
That's bad.
Well, how about this, Troy? What are you most nervous about? Do you have any numbers for that?
No, not very nervous about anything.
Nerd.
Just Morton being healthy. I mean, let's keep it healthy. And although I've heard a lot of great things about the backup, so if something were to happen, I'm confident that he'd be fine.
He's heard such great things he doesn't even know his name.
Yeah, that's right.
Dallas, as it relates to Tech, what worries you the most?
Keep it rolling.
I mean, the obvious answer is the offensive line, right?
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line's a big question mark. 2 weeks out from the start of the season, we don't have a starting 5 solidified. Biggest question is out there on left tackle. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do there. I kind of want Caleb Rogers to jump back out to tackle, but I don't think they're going to do that because he wants, I guess, to play in the NFL as a guard or center. But I think that would be best for the line. We'll see. Maybe old Sterling Porsche, however you actually pronounce his name, will somehow make a miraculous turnaround from his time at Middle Tennessee State. But he wasn't graded out too great at according to PFF, at least, and some of the tapes a little tough.
Yeah, and that kind of ties into what Troy's saying too. If they're not good, then it'll be hard for Morton to stay healthy. What about you, Nick?
Yeah,
I know there's few things to be worried about with this championship-winning Tech team, but what do you got for me?
Health, man. It's always going to be health. We haven't seen a healthy quarterback since 2017, right? So,
yeah,
until we see it, I don't care if our backup's great and our backup's great, and our backup is Will Hammond, until our quarterback stays healthy, it's going to be tough. So,
yeah. And on that note, guys, we're going to pivot over to Texas Tech basketball. Guys, non-conference schedule was released. Dallas, go ahead and tell me what you think of that. Looks pretty manageable, right?
Yeah, I see a few wins on that schedule. Yeah, people got a little in their feels on the old Twitter, the old X, as Elon likes to say.
Yeah, that's what the kids call it.
Yeah, that's what the kids are calling it these days. But yeah, it's not a big deal. I know we've got like 6 or 7 cupcakes on there, but there's enough on some of the neutral site non-con that'll make up for it. And you never know where some of those lower Division I teams will end up by the end of the year. They jump around quite a bit from year to year. Not to mention, you're also going from an 18 to 20 game Big 12 schedule with no buys. I mean, I don't know what people thought, but we weren't going to make a big jump this year and really toughen up the non-con with all of those factors. So it's a nothing burger, but people will make it into a bigger deal than it really is just because everyone's desperate for football to start.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I wouldn't even have glanced over this until you guys brought it up today, because I'm just so ready for football to start. But Troy, I mean, back in my day, you were allowed to have some tune-up games, right? I mean, it's just getting the boys ready for the season. Who cares if they're some of the worst teams in the country?
I see a revenge game in there.
Oh,
Old
God.
DePaul, we've lost to him before. So I'm marking my calendar for that one on December 4th. And Elijah Fisher is still there too, right? Or no? Did he transfer out?
I don't know. It's your stat, Troy.
He didn't play that.
We'll see. Anyway, we lost to him in 2019, so we got to take care of business. But yeah,
are we supposed to know that?
I don't know. Let's see where he is.
Wait, so maybe we
got
should throw that game, though. The last time we lost to them, we went to the national championship game?
That's a good point, Dallas.
That's not what we needed, Troy. You did not need to open that can of worms for Dallas. Oh. Well, Nick, I know a lot of people are worried about our net. Oh, gosh. I know a lot of people are worried about our net ratings and all that if you have such a weak non-con schedule. Doesn't none of that matter if you go undefeated, Nick?
Thank you, Dylan. Exactly. If a Texas Tech wins all their games, it doesn't matter. Okay. And here's what I'm going to tell you. So, and same thing as football. Football, we got some non-conference game news today as well. I'd rather, let's make sure we win these games, because in recent memory we have not. So I would rather start the season 5-0 and get some, like Dylan said, tune-up games in, than go 2-2 and already be miserable and depressed because we lost to Wyoming. All right. So, or Oregon, which good game, but still, going in 2-2 to the season. It's fun to go see like big games, right? Like to have a big game out of conference and get to go crazy because we're playing Duke or whatever, and referring to basketball now. But I don't really care. Dallas brought up a great point, right? 20-game season now, conference season. That's massive. And we added some great basketball schools to our conference as well. So that's going to make up for whatever we're missing in the non-conference. So I think people really need to chill out. And also, those things change so fast. Let's talk about football, right? We were supposed to play We were supposed to play Oregon this year, and it changed in a year, right? Now we're not playing them anymore. So these things change very quick. They can change very quickly. So we're scheduling games out in advance, but who knows what happens with these. So I don't care. It's not basketball season. It's not their turn, nor do they really deserve a turn until we see what they can give us this year.
Yeah, fair enough. I was getting lost from the back and forth between football and basketball, but I was getting excited every time you talked about football. So I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, you felt a little excitement.
I was getting lost between the back and forth between Nick and the battle within. Hey, DePaul went 3-29 last year, so if we lose to them,
that's why I was confused when you talked about that. They were like historically bad last year.
Oh man,
20 in conference.
Oh man,
I'm letting Troy cook this episode, man. Just gotta keep letting him go.
Some of the coldest takes ever.
Troy's like DePaul, baby.
Yeah, he's all excited. It's like, well, okay, good for him.
Damn, Troy.
But all right, good thing Nick brought it back to football, because when we were originally talking about topics today, guys, apparently I was the only one that thought we had said conference over/under win totals for the Big 12. So I went through, looked at a bunch of their schedules. Be honest, got through about 10 of them. Had been looking at the rest during these conversations, and I went ahead and made my picks for all of them. So unfortunately for you guys, I'm gonna make you guys do that on the fly. So what I'll do,
I know how.
There we go. What I'll do, I'll start by, why not alphabetical order, because that's the way these standings are listed. So I'll just go down the list. I'll tell you the number, and then we'll talk about it over under and kind of what our thoughts are. But Troy,
Dylan, can I say one thing?
what's up?
Sometimes doing things on the fly is best. I mean, Troy today is a great example. He did some half-ass studying, and he made DePaul sound like they were going to be a quad 1 win.
Nick, are you just ignoring those stats he brought up earlier?
Yeah.
What I would tell you is he wasn't specific if he meant conference or national.
It was all conference.
I know that. I assumed that, but you made me assume. Don't ever make someone assume.
All right, guys. The first team that we have are the Arizona Wildcats. Their over-under this year is 7.5. Troy, I'll throw it to you. What do you think about the Arizona Wildcats this year?
I thought the number was going to be higher. I understand why with the turnover. They still have probably two of the top players in the Big 12. Obviously, Colorado probably has 2 as well on their side. But that being said, there's 2 guys over there that are really talented, and that offense will be humming. So to say they'll be under 7.5 just seems hard for me. So I'll go over on that one.
All right.
Right at 8.
What about you, Dallas? What you thinking?
This is a rat line. This is classic rat. I'm sniffing it out. I'm going under. We already know they've got a guaranteed loss week 6 against Texas Tech. So that's one they can't win. Yeah, if it smells like a rat, if it bites like a rat, it's a rat. So going under, they're going to finish with 7 wins. It makes 0 sense, which is why it makes perfect sense.
What about you, Nick?
Dallas is getting the rats.
Yeah, there you go.
We're going under. I've been saying it since we've been talking about all this. Arizona isn't the same team they were. They're going to crash down to reality. They might get 7 wins. 7.5 is actually like a solid number. Vegas knows what they're talking about, obviously, but under 7.
So it is heavily juiced to the under. The over is actually plus 120 at 7.5. I had their ceiling
That makes sense.
At 10 wins. I had their actual at 7 wins. Their toss-up games would be TCU, West Virginia, and UCF. We're not a toss-up game because we're going to kill them. So I agree with you guys. I'm on the under train on this one as well. But we'll go ahead and move on to BYU, guys. This is supposed to be a terrible BYU team. Their over-under is 4.5 plus 105. Troy, I'll throw it to you. How do you feel about BYU?
Can you give me that number again?
4.5 plus 105.
Oh,
wait,
man.
Dylan, you skipped Arizona State.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was looking at Arizona State. I was like, did they not join the Big 12?
You like how I said alphabetical order and I skipped them?
Yeah.
Well, Troy, Arizona State, 4.5 as well, plus 135. Look at that, same number. Who cares? Troy, what do you think about Arizona State?
So I think Arizona State will go under. I don't really think much of them, and therefore, I don't think they'll win very much. That's all
fair.
I have for them.
I obviously didn't think very much of them, too, when I skipped over them. Dallas, what do you think about Arizona State?
Dylan, do you have their non-con pulled up by chance? You know who they play?
I know for sure Wyoming and Texas State are on there because I wrote those.
This is another rat line because it seems so obvious they'd go under. They're they won 3 games last year.
Mississippi State's the other, Dal.
They're gonna lose to Wyoming and Mississippi State.
Everything.
I don't know what Blake
stopped him in his tracks.
All right, I'll go
Remember,
under.
Dallas, you're asking him to win 5 games.
I want to go over though.
Then pick it.
I think they can win 5, but I'll say
okay.
Their ceiling, I think it might be 5.
All right. What about you, Nick? What do you think?
Jesus Christ. Their ceiling's 5. I want to go 5, but I'm not doing it. I'm going under.
Exactly.
They're gonna, but I'm not confused about it like you are.
Yeah, no,
They're
I
going under.
actually have their ceiling is 4 wins. I think Texas State beats them. I think Wyoming beats them. I have them actually winning 2 games. I have them going under 4.5 and 3.5. You can see both different juiced odds. So Arizona State's gonna be terrible. Now we'll go to BYU.
There you go.
4.5.
Moving on.
4.5 is the over under plus 105. Troy, what do you think?
Just looking at their schedule, that's I only see maybe 2 wins, 3 wins. That's their non-con is SMU, Wyoming. I know Wyoming's coach retired.
What's with Big 12 teams playing Wyoming?
I don't know. I guess it gets their rocks off or something. I don't know how Kansas is going to be if their quarterback gets hurt. I know he's been injury prone the last couple of years. I like them right around 4-5, but I think I'm going to go right at 4, and I'll probably take under there as well.
All right, Dallas, what about you?
Yeah, under. Under. BYU's bad.
That's a good enough reason for me. Nick, what about you?
Over.
Oh, Nicky's feeling bold. Yeah, I have. Hey, Nick loves them.
No, just over.
I have them actually winning 2 games, so I went under 4.5. I think it's gonna be a terrible team again, but we'll go over to Baylor next, guys. Baylor this year's over under is 5.5 even odds, so plus 100. Troy, I'll throw it to you. What do you think about Baylor?
They're a team that could be on their new coach relatively quickly, depending on how the Air Force game goes. I don't know how much longer of a leash Aranda gets. And so I'm curious what that will look like. You know, I think they can obviously beat Tarleton State in their first game. But then they got Utah. Air Force is a tough out. Colorado, and then BYU. So they could be 1-4, 1-5.
I thought BYU was an easy win.
Not when they're Baylor. They are at home. So I'm going under 5. I think tragedy strikes.
Dallas, what do you think?
I think they go over. I think they go 6-6 and make a bowl game. They'll be better on the offensive line than last year. They can't be worse, and they've got a pretty mobile quarterback back there. He's not. I don't think he'll be great, but I think that in that offense he'll be a little better. And with Aranda taking back over the defense, I think they'll improve a little. But they're not going to be good, but I think they'll squeak it out and make a bowl game.
All right. What about you, Nick? What you got for Baylor?
Over 5.5.
Oh, man. Nick's got him in a bowl game, too. I got Baylor.
Going over.
I got Baylor at 4 wins, going under. Big games against Colorado, TCU, and West Virginia. I just don't think they're going to take any of those. Next, we'll move on to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's over-under is 5, heavily juiced at minus 160. Troy, what do you think about Cincy?
Oh, man, I've only had one over. So their first 3 games first 4 games are very winnable. I mean, honestly, they got Pittsburgh, which I'm not sure how they'll be this year.
Is that a rivalry game?
You could say that. Why not?
It's an old big rivalry game.
It is, right?
Yeah. So their schedule, I mean, and then they even have Arizona on there. I'm going to go over on this one. I mean, you said it's at 5, and it's heavily juiced though, right? So I'll take the juice. I think it's doable. I think they can get to 5 relatively easily. That 6 one's going to be tough to find. Yeah, that 6 one could be pretty tough to find, especially if they drop one of the games they should in the first 4.
Well, at least you got to push. All right, Dallas, what do you think about Cincy?
Push.
What did you say for under was 5?
Yeah, 5 flat.
Yeah, I have to go under because I don't see I don't see how they get to 6. I could see their season kind of imploding, winning, only 3 or 2 games. So I'm going under. I think they probably in 4 or 5 most likely end up with that push, that number. But, I think the ceiling's pretty capped.
Yeah. What about you, Nick? What do you think of Cincy?
Under.
Yeah, I agree. I got Cincy at 4 wins. I have them under. That pick game's going to be huge. May as well take the under when the over's so juiced and you can get a push anywhere.
The old Larry Fitzgerald Bowl.
There you go. That's what they're saying. That's what the kids are saying. All right, guys. We'll go ahead and move on to one of the most hyped teams coming into the year, just probably by their own coach.
Under. Just move on. Under.
Troy, what do you have at Colorado? Their over-under's 5.5, heavily juiced to the over at -140.
That's shocking that they get all this hype for that win total.
Troy, Vegas doesn't believe in hype.
No, I know. They get all – yeah, they don't believe in hype. That's fair. I'm going to go over.
Oh, Troy believes in it. Dallas, what about you? What do you feel about this Colorado team?
So I don't have their conference schedule pulled up, but they have is it the hardest or second toughest conference schedule, I think? They get Utah, they get Kansas State, they get Tech. Yeah, there's no way they get.
Hey, good
Troy,
job.
you don't have that
there.
pulled up on your computer?
No, I have it. They have Baylor. Baylor, UCF, Kansas State, Arizona, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
It's not the easiest road. Nick already let us know that he definitely feels under, so move on from him. I have Colorado winning 4 games, so I have them under. That Nebraska, UCF, and Tech games are the ones they're going to circle to see if they can make a bowl game or not. But we'll go ahead and move on to another bottom of the barrel team, guys. Houston. Houston's over-under is at 3.5, the lowest total in the Big 12.
Wow.
Heavily juiced at -160 to the over. Troy, what do you think about this team?
I don't have much to think about them. I know they were a real big letdown last year, and they didn't improve on anything. Their schedule, I mean –
what's their non-con, Troy?
Their non-con is going to be UNLV, so Oklahoma, which they'll get smoked in that game, Rice, so those 3 teams. They do have for the weaker Big 12 teams Cincinnati and Baylor and BYU. At 3.5, you said obviously it's heavily juiced to the over. I think they can really, toss up. Not really though. I'll go over 3.5.
All right, Dallas, what about you? What do you think?
I want to go under so bad here, which is why I'm going over. I like Donovan. Liked his time at Tech. I think he's a decent quarterback, and they can get by UNLV. They can get by Rice. They can beat BYU and then steal one of the games against Cincinnati or Baylor and get to 4 wins.
All right, Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going over. Donovan can get them. He can steal a win somewhere, and I think that's all they have to do is just steal one, and they'll get in.
Yeah, especially
or
3.5.
They'll get over 3.5.
Well, I have them at 2 wins, and I think they're definitely going to be circling these Cincy and BYU games. So I have Houston going under as well. I have the bottom of the Big 12 being very bad this year. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next team on the list, Iowa State. Iowa State's over under this year 7.5. They're one of I believe it's 5 teams listed at 7.5 wins. Troy, I'll go and throw it to you. What do you think of Iowa State?
So I know that there are a lot of people's dark horse with how they finished last year. And so that'll be interesting to see what they can do, but their non-con, I mean, they start off with Iowa, which is a rivalry game, so who knows what can happen there. Iowa's ranked, obviously, and you may only need a touchdown to win that game. And you got Arkansas State, Houston, Baylor, and your next tough game is Week 5 against West Virginia. And then it really doesn't let up until you get Cincinnati. And so we said 7.5. Dallas, their Big 12 schedule is really tough as well. They got some of the top dogs in it too. So I could see him flirt with 7. I'm going to go under. There's a lot of tough games on the schedule. A lot of toss-ups. And the Big 12 is going to be a toss-up this year. So going under.
All right, Dallas, what do you got for them?
Is that a Iowa game, home or away?
It's away.
I'll go under. I think this is I think a team with a very tight range. I think they're going to be a very good team, but yeah, I think their schedule's tough. That Iowa game on the road will be tough, and the win they'll go 7-5.
What about you, Nick? What do you got?
They're going over.
Yeah, I have them at 6 wins, going under 7.5. But we'll go ahead and move on to Kansas, guys. So Kansas, the Jayhawks, another exciting team. Their over-under is 8 this year.
Under.
Over-under is 8 this year at -125. Troy, what do you got for them?
Don't tell me, Troy.
Let's see. I mean,
they're still Kansas, damn it.
Yeah, I know. How's Illinois been? Well, they just hired a head coach, right?
Illinois could have a good year this year. They're a sleeper for a few people.
Yeah. They have UNLV. And then, honestly, their conference schedule is pretty easy. And I probably think that's why they're at 8 wins. I mean, they get Houston, BYU, Baylor. They get Colorado late in the year. So if things don't go well, that could implode pretty quickly. Or if it implodes, it will implode by then, right? They have them the second to last game of the season. And they have Arizona State. I don't know if I mentioned them. So I see why it's at 8. I'm going to take 8 and hope that I push. I could see them get there. As long as the quarterback stays healthy, I think that's a feasible line.
Dallas, what do you got?
Yeah, I've got over. For the reasons Troy laid out, they've got a really easy conference schedule. And like I said, I think possibly in contention to go to the conference championship game. But I think, like I said, my bold takes earlier, that the winner of the Kansas State game will get an at-large bid in the college football playoff. Nick's shaking his head because he's stuck in his old ways. That Kansas is horrible.
Back in my day, Kansas didn't know how to play football.
I don't.
This is
Mark Mangino. That Kansas Kansas team.
But there's people a lot older than me that would say back in their day.
All right. Well,
under,
Nick,
Dylan. Under.
Yeah,
they're not winning 8 games. Come on.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be on that side, but going through the schedule, I have them at 9 wins. I have them going over. And plus, if you take over 8, you get a push anyway. So, I'll take the over on that. Yeah, but if you like 9, and you take over at 8,
you guys. Troy made me laugh when he said that too. Troy's like, "Well, I get 8, I get the push." Yeah, but you could take under 8 and get the push too.
Yeah, but if you're leaning towards 9, it makes sense to take an over at 8 with a push. But we'll go ahead to Kansas State. Kansas State's next. Didn't forget about this state school like I did for Arizona State. Their over-under is listed at 9.5 plus 125. Wow. Troy.
Wow.
What do you think?
They have their first 2 games, UT Martin and then Tulane. which, I mean, they should be able to beat both of those teams. And then it gets decently tough. They do have BYU in the middle. Their back half of the schedule is super easy. So if they can remain healthy and start, I don't know, we'll say 5-2 or 3. They have to get to 10 wins though. I don't know who their 2 losses would be. I'm going to go under. Going under.
Okay. All right. Dallas,
I think they're
what
right
do you
at
got?
9.
I mean, I kind of have to go over to stay consistent with my bold take that the winner of that game of Kansas State will be an at-large bid. Yeah, they've got an insanely easy schedule. If they lose more than 2 games, I mean, it should be an absolute failure with that schedule. So I think that it's going to be weird because I think they end up like a 10 or 11 win team. And if they have 11 wins, maybe only 1 conference loss, it might not be enough to get them in the conference championship game because they'll probably have no tiebreakers playing all the bottom teams.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Looking at their schedule, guys, if you haven't put any futures on Kansas State, I would definitely look at doing that right now because I had to force them to have 2 losses.
Yeah.
And that's still over 9.5. So, yeah, I really like this Kansas State team. I think the schedule plays perfectly for him. Obviously, there's a lot of hype around their quarterback after what he did against us last year. And then
I
people are
don't
saying,
but I think that their schedule is so easy that
yeah, they're saying Avery Johnson, Heisman takes and all that. So we'll see. I know. But
All their tough games are at home too.
Exactly. I think the schedule shapes up well for them. I'm going over on that one. But we'll go ahead and move on to Oklahoma State, whose over-under is listed at 8 minus 130, juice to the over.
This
Troy.
staff is kind of silly that it makes the host have to invite you back.
Well, you made it back. Welcome back.
Well, hey,
Just
Nick,
my thoughts.
Real quick, Kansas State, 9.5. What do you think?
That's tough, dude. 9.5. I mean, you're basically saying they're going to, 10 wins gets you. Dallas, you said 11. You think gets you to the playoffs? I'll go over. They scare me. Did you guys all go under?
No, we all went over. We all agreed there. Everyone went over.
Yeah, I'm going over. Sorry, Dylan. Both baseball games we're interested in are tied.
Yeah, I have them both up on the TVs. That's why I keep looking up.
Well, I don't. So let's speed this up.
Troy, I got Oklahoma State over-unders at 8. What do you got, Troy?
Pulling up their
You said
schedule.
8?
Let's see. 8, it's even, or it's at 8?
Yeah.
All right. So Arkansas will be interesting in their second game. Tulsa have a little bit of a rivalry flair to it. That's an away game. And then their conference schedule starts off really tough. And then they get a little bit of a cakewalk in the middle and finish up difficult in their last game of the year is against Colorado. And so at 8 wins, obviously they have one of the top running backs in the Big 12. Bowman's a question mark, I think. Can he be better than average? And I don't know the answer to that. I'm gonna, Nick. If you liked the under, you got to push at 8.
I'm taking the over.
I'm going under with a push at 8.
Tell us, what do you got?
Yeah, I like the under here. I'm not trusting Alan Bowman. They've got one of the tougher schedules in the conference. One of their tough games against Texas Tech is going to be at home. It's going to be one of their losses, so that's going to be tough to recover from. That's another guaranteed loss there.
You hate to see Tech on your schedule because we're going undefeated, so it's a guaranteed loss. I don't know if we bake that into our algorithm.
Yeah, I mean, Gundy's a great coach and everything, but I am not sold that Ollie Gordon is this All-American Heisman potential future first-round draft pick that everyone says he is, because he had a few good games last year that boosted his stats a ton. In the back half of the year, he averaged like less than 5 yards a carry.
Man, some hot takes. Nick, you said over?
5 yards a carry is pretty good.
Not in college. And it was
I mean,
under 5 yards a carry.
I know, but 5 yards
For a high All-American.
You're getting me 5 yards every time you touch the ball? You're never going to see third down.
No, it's over under.
You're not going to use them like they did last year.
I'm taking the over. Dallas's math doesn't math. I'm taking the over.
All right. I got them at 9, so I got the over as well.
There's a lot of teams.
Dallas is breaking
A
up.
lot of teams in the country with running backs that
Dallas,
average.
your math and your internet aren't working.
I can't get my
They're
point
the
out.
same. Sorry, your internet and your math are like the same thing. Not working.
All right, guys. We'll go ahead and move on to
I'm being
TCU. TCU's over under is 7.5. Troy, I'll throw it to you. What do you think of TCU?
TCU. That's going to be interesting.
Here we go. Do we have 20 more minutes?
I know they replaced a lot on their offensive line, so I think that they'll be right around 7 wins. I'll go under.
Right around 7. Shocker. Troy thinks they're going to be right around the number that they put. Do you want to push it 7.5, Troy?
Dallas, what do you got?
Over.
Oh. Dallas hasn't making the playoff again, I guess. All right.
No, just like 8.
Nick, you said under. I have them at 7 wins, so I have them going under as well. All right. I don't even think we have to do this one. We'll just all do it at once. Texas Tech 7.5. Over.
That's so, dude. That's Dylan. What's the odds
Over.
on that?
Even. This is as of 3 days ago from an article.
Even to go over?
Yes, even to the.
Boys,
so we're favored
let's
to go
talk
under.
about this for a second. We take out our mortgage. Second mortgage on the houses. You know when people say bet the house?
We could pay for our house after this year.
We could literally bet the house.
It's such a sure thing.
I have never in my life.
Yeah, I don't even see a loss on the schedule. I just don't see where it happens.
I bet you some casinos would pay it out now if we went to the right one.
They probably most won't even offer because it's too obvious.
Yeah,
it's a sure thing.
Sir, we're not taking that right now.
Where do you get the lines from?
What's up?
So where are you getting these fraudulent lines from? I refuse to believe.
Yeah, there's no way it's a true line. I agree. The over-under is 15, and it's counting playoff games. So, all right, guys, we'll go ahead and move on to Central Florida, UCF. Troy, UCF is one of the 7.5 teams I mentioned. What do you think about that?
I think they're going to go over.
Oh, Troy likes UCF. All
right.
Yeah,
who's the electric factory on that team? Do they have like a wide receiver or a quarterback?
They have a receiver, a quarterback, and a running back that are all electric factories.
They have an O-line, a D-line.
Yeah. They got 5 linemen.
Yeah, I even hear they got a head coach.
Dallas, what do you got them at?
So yeah, I think this is going to be another really good team, similar to like Iowa State, that just has a tough schedule, and they're going to go 7 wins. I've got under.
Dallas, is their schedule really that tough though?
Oh, here we go.
Don't they go to the swamp?
They do play Florida.
Isn't Florida going to fire their coach this year?
Well, that's
what did that galvanize
the hardest schedule in the history.
Yeah, you're right. They'll still probably beat old UCF. All right.
All right. What do you got, Nick?
Under.
All right. I have under as well. I think it's a tough schedule with an overhyped team. All right.
Yeah.
Utah, guys. Utah at 9.5, heavily favored towards the over. Everyone's favorite, it seems like, other than us geniuses, to win this conference. Troy, what do you have them at, over or under?
You said it's 9 or 9.5?
9.5.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you said 9.5, huh? 9.5.
Oh my god, dude.
For the third time.
Is this kid for real? This was supposed to be a 30-minute one. It's an hour in, Troy. Your little arguments with yourself. Thank you.
Dallas, what do you got?
Yeah, I got over. They've got an easier schedule as well. And they're going to meet Tech in the Big 12 championship, like we said.
Oh man. What do you think, Nick? What do you got?
I hate them, but I think over.
Oh man. Yeah, I'll go ahead and go over. Why not? And then, of course, like Dallas said, they'll lose in the championship game. Last but not least, West Virginia, 6.5. Juiced to the over at -130. Troy, what do you got for them?
Let's see what their non-con is. Dun, 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 dun.
Penn State, Albany, and Pitt.
Yuck. I'm gonna go under. I think they're right at 6.
What about you, Dallas?
Yeah,
This is a
that Pitt
tough
game's on the
schedule.
road, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
On the road.
Yeah, I'd go under just because I think there's a real possibility they start 1-2, and then it's impossible basically to get to the over from there for them.
What do you got, Nick?
I have them under as well. I don't think they're going to show up like everyone says they are this year, so under. And oddly enough, I have 8 overs and 8 unders. That was not intentional, but I feel good about that.
Yeah, a lot of people are hyped on them. I'm looking at their schedule, and this has to be an under. There's a lot of tough games on there.
Yeah, that Albany game.
Yeah, they're going to get blown out by Albany. Don't want to start the season like that. But all right, guys.
Have you ever been to Albany?
I'm assuming you have from the question.
I have. I had a good time.
You enjoyed Albany?
I did. The capital of New York.
Yes, people forget.
People do.
Well, all right, guys. Seems like that's the Big 12. So Texas Tech and Kansas State and Utah seem like the teams to watch that we all are in agreement on. Kansas, some of us, but yeah, it's going to be a fun year. No one can really predict the Big 12, and that's what's going to make it really interesting. Well, yeah, when we're right, we'll say that. I mean, we'll show this and be like, oh,
I'll say it now.
Yeah, we all had Texas Tech winning every game when we went through the schedules. No wonder there were so many unders. But all right, guys. Well, that was just to, write a few things down. Don't worry.
Yeah.
They're going to go undefeated.
Okay.
But all right, guys. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you guys spending the time with us to go through some Big 12 totals and some of our other topics. You can always find us at Tech Letter N Tortillas.
Me spending the time. I've got a 4-day-old
Tech
baby.
Letter N Tortillas across all socials, guys. Again, that's at Tech Letter N Tortillas. Please like and subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. And as always, guns up.
Back up.